Alright, ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the top right position as the red Terran is going to be NoseKnowsAll. And spawning as the blue Protoss in the bottom left position is going to be Placid. So TvP on this map at this level, we see a lot of Ire is leading. Alright, I guess the Protoss people in the chat are going to keep me straight. We have generally any strategy is really kind of viable on this map. You have drop space, of course, for Banshees, reasonable proxy locations for any kind of tech, but you also have these wide areas that allow for taking expansions, and third can be a little bit far from the natural, but it's not a huge deal. The Stilnaga Towers overwatch a reasonable number of the areas, of course, around the map. We're going to see Pylon go down and a pretty early scout from Placid, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for any kind of really greedy play, because typically you send the probe there if you want to get really early scouting to make sure you can get away with being greedy, but NoseKnowsAll is going to go for a 10 supply depot, 12 barracks play, and this probe's going to come in here and scout this relatively quickly, so no gas just yet. He's going to queue up another SCV, so he's not looking to do anything terribly aggressive. This probe's going to start to poke away at this SCV building the barracks. The SCV will be pulled to help deal with this, and in the meantime, we actually are going to see just a standard gateway follow-up, and then a gas taken for Placid. So NoseKnowsAll, a little bit annoying to have to deal with the probe in your base, of course, but it's not the biggest deal ever. The barracks wasn't delayed significantly, I would say, so not awful. He's going to try to use this probe to do a little bit of micro on the mineral patch, try to prevent the SCV from mining, but now the probe has picked up minerals of its own, so it is not going to be able to mine anymore to distract the SCV. Barracks is complete. Command center will transform into an orbital command soon, and it looks like we're going to see basically just a 1-rax expand out of NoseKnowsAll, SCV moving down towards the natural, so this isn't surprising, and it looks like Placid is going to be able to scout this pretty quickly. NoseKnowsAll isn't going to wait for a second Marine, didn't try to block anything off of the expansion, and this Marine's going to step down. He's going to take a couple of shots at the probe. The probe did not see the command center go down, but it's kind of one of those safer things to assume. You know, he saw only one supply depot, so if he was going to go for continued Marine production and do any kind of all-in, he would have needed the second supply depot way earlier. But NoseKnowsAll's going to get in. He's going to scout the 1 gate expand. Actually going to see that the Nexus went down before the Cybernetics core, so it's a pretty greedy play by Placid, but it's he also has the gateway to get Zealots for defense if he needs them. And, well, Placid hasn't actually scouted the expansion yet, but it's one of those things that's not... it's relatively safe to assume these kinds of things. The SCV for NoseKnowsAll continuing to skirt around that main base of Placid. Zealot is chrono boosted out. We're going to have the Cybernetics core done very soon, so we'll be able to get a Stalker. But this probe does scout the 1-rax fast expand. We're actually going to see another command center very, very quickly for NoseKnowsAll. So he's playing a pretty greedy style. This wasn't scouted by the Protoss players. So this can, you know, now Placid's like, well, okay, I guess the standard follow-up is to go for an additional 2 racks after the command center, then gas, and go for medevacs and stim. But Placid's doing, he's not doing anything too super crazy. He's getting the Stalker out. He has his warp gate going. No additional gas taken yet, so he's playing this about as standard as he could. So we're just gonna have to see where NoseKnowsAll wants to take this. Now he's getting the 2 racks. He kind of just delayed his everything by a tiny bit to get this economy. So this pays off in the long run of the game. The standard 10-minute timing isn't really going to happen. So it's not going to be a super huge, scary type of 10-minute attack. Going to be more looking around the 12, 14-minute mark. And the gas follow-up is coming in here as well. Now Placid is going to get himself another 2 gateways. He got his robotics facility first, so he's going to have a quicker observer to be able to scout NoseKnowsAll with. And, well, he's got 4 Marines now in a bunker. And we'll be starting his tech lab soon to get his stim. And we're going to have to see where this pans out now. Of course, he confirmed, yes, you did not cancel the command center with the Stalker. The Zealot is at the left side tower, so he's feeling pretty safe. There's nothing weird going on. Neither of these players are being crazy aggressive. We have a little bit of greed coming out of NoseKnowsAll with the fast third command center, but it doesn't look like it's going to be punished by Placid. He's going to have his observer out soon. He's going to be able to go over, scout this, and that's going to kind of determine where he's going to go with it. Of course, he could say, "Oh, you got a fast third. Maybe I should get an observer. Maybe I should go for a Colossus timing since your tech is going to be really late." We actually don't have a factory yet started at 7 minutes. He will be starting it very soon, but he's a little bit of gas away from it. Just now starting his third gas, so his tech is slowed considerably because of the fast third orbital command, but it pays for itself once you get about 2 mules out of it. So. We'll see exactly where it goes with a warp prism on the way and a forge. Looking at this observer, he has a second one coming up. Always smart to make more than one. Allows you to cover multiple areas, and now the observer is going to come into NoseKnowsAll's base. He's going to see the factory just starting, so he knows, okay, well, I have a little bit of time here. Oh, you're just getting an engineering bay. And this warp prism attack could be pretty strong because there won't be any stim. There won't be any combat shield. There won't be any medevacs. There won't be any, actually, even any marauders. So it's just pure marine. And if he can get this warp prism into a position where he can utilize force fields on the top of the ramp of the main, he might be able to do a little bit of damage, but it's just pure stalker at the moment. So it's not, he's not going to be able to block anything off. And he's just going to go for an 8.5 minute Nexus, and I think that's kind of a reasonable response to the fast third orbital, but that Nexus isn't going to be able to pay itself off super quickly. But if NoseKnowsAll isn't going to hit at 10 minutes, then that also gives Placid a little bit of time to get resources out of it. But he has this 4 Stalker drop and might just try to kill a couple SCVs. Won't really be able to snipe anything significant once Stim finishes, but all the units are in the natural. He's going to drop the Stalker. He's going to pick off the SCV, building the starport, going for all the SCVs that are building, constructing the additional production, and that's exactly how you want to do this. But it's very important that he doesn't lose these units. Placid picking up one of his Stalkers, he's going to move forward. He's making sure that he's going to focus down the SCVs, building the barracks, and then he's just going to get out of there. And the starport, however, will be finished. He quickly pulled another SCV to finish it, so he's going to be able to move into his medevacs now, and Stim is complete, but we have the robotics bay just about to finish, +1 armor is about to finish, additional gateways are going to go down. We should have a Twilight Council coming in reasonably soon. Oh no, he's actually, never mind, he's going to get his +1 attack afterwards, so it won't be super fast upgrades, but he's got that third base about to finish, and he did a teeny bit of damage, and it's, you know, not bad at all. It's more about just distracting your opponent, keeping him on his toes, making him, force him to multitask on what is actually happening, and these Stalkers are going to come in towards the natural expansion. He's dropping them out. He's trying to get a couple of them, but the SCVs actually go into the refinery, preventing them from taking damage since the shots are missiles, and he forces his Stim out of NoseKnowsAll. He doesn't have any medevacs out just yet. First two about now finishing, but not bad play. He's basically buying himself time to get the Colossus count up, to get this third base saturated, and even though NoseKnowsAll got the fast third orbital command, we have an even probe count, but he's going to be able to saturate this base, at least mine out of it, so he's got more resource capabilities. And I like using the four Stalker Warp Prism as an aggressive tool to be able to really be able to deal a lot of damage to the economy, just harassing, picking off SCVs, building things. And we have a second starport actually on the way, as well as an armory completing. So NoseKnowsAll is looking pretty solid in the upgrade department. He's getting his 1-1, but this is kind of weird, I have to say, to see what exactly going on here. Now this Warp Prism is going to be running by, drop these 4 Stalkers. I don't agree with dropping them. He should have just loaded up and tried to run away, but nothing crazy just yet. Probe heading towards the bottom right to possibly lay out some proxy pylons, and NoseKnowsAll lands his third, but Placid's got a pretty decent 3-base saturation. Some SCVs missing off of gas from NoseKnowsAll, and really nothing too crazy. Placid's put himself in a pretty solid spot, but NoseKnowsAll hasn't really missed a beat with his macro either, so both players are kind of getting these head-to-head forces ready to pummel each other, but I think NoseKnowsAll is in a slightly stronger position. He has slightly more supply. He didn't really take too much actual damage from the harass, and now he has a second starport, so he's going to be able to get Vikings out in a pretty decent number to take care of these Colossi. I do not agree with the Dark Shrine that Placid's going to get, but NoseKnowsAll also doesn't have any missile turrets spread around his base. He's not going to be in a great position to defend against it. It's just, I think the High Templar option would be more profitable for him to be able to deal damage as well as sustain any kind of big max out push. But Placid has closed the supply gap for the most part. NoseKnowsAll spent a lot of his income, actually got supply blocked pretty hard, but of course immediately gets a supply lead back. He has so much production, and this is why not getting supply blocked is incredibly important. at least for these players. Now we do have a proxy pylon by the third base. He will be able to warp in Dark Templar if he chooses. In terms of scans, I do believe there are scans available for NoseKnowsAll. So if he tries to go for this, I think the best time, of course, would be to wait for your opponent to move out, wait for NoseKnowsAll to leave his base, try to go for some kind of max out timing or big push. Although I will say a third orbital build will generally allow you to hit 200 supply around 14 minutes if you do it perfectly. But Placid managed to slow him down enough that they're both at around 160 supply at 14 minutes, and Placid didn't go for a super greedy build. He played super standard, super kosher, and not out of the ordinary. Now these two Dark Templars, he's going to spread them around the bases. He's going to send a couple of NoseKnowsAll, realizes this scans. He's going to pick off this Dark Templar, perhaps. Yep. But he does have one running towards the natural expansion. He's going to begin a missile turret, but I do not know if he has additional scans. He does have them. He needs to be very careful, though, and scan will go down. He delays that missile turret, and this is just buying more time for Placid to get what he wants together. The Templar Archives has now started. I think it was a bit of a blown punch on this, but there's no mining at the third. This Dark Templar is going to be able to wreak havoc. He's getting free SCV kills here. Looking at the Workers tab, 59 for NoseKnowsAll. He's no longer saturated for 3 base worth of economy, and now the Warp Prism has reached his main base. He's warping in 2 charge lots as well as 2 Dark Templar and additional Zealots. Excuse me, he doesn't actually have charge just yet. It is it's about on the way. But the Dark Templar taking out, he's forcing the scans, but he did have a missile turret position there, but this Dark Templar will make it to the mineral line of the main, picking off the SCVs that are mining that incredibly important gas, and NoseKnowsAll finds himself super supply blocked again, and the worst part is there's no depots on the way. He just used all of his scans in order to use supply drops. He has to deny himself scans, he's denying himself mules, and really he's putting himself economically in not a great spot. He's held off all the aggression just fine. But Placid has not been harassed at all this game. He's managed to pretty much perfectly survive absolutely everything that NoseKnowsAll has even tried to do. Nose has survived, but he's not thrived. He has a couple of Ghosts, he has a couple of Vikings, he doesn't have a significant number of either. We have a significant number of Colossus. We have 5 Colossi. 2 Vikings will not be able to handle this army. He's getting his Templar out now. He only has 3 Ghosts. You cannot afford to make Ghosts and Vikings at the same time off of 3 bases while trying to keep yourself together. He only has 6 medevacs, it's a reasonable count, but they have a lot of energy, can be feedbacked very quickly. And the Dark Templar immediately coming back to be incredibly annoying. And there you go, a scan's going to drop on that. NoseKnowsAll also supply blocked again, 185, no depots on the way. He has 15 supply completely denied, and now we have a maxed out Protoss force, and he's also got his 4th base. So this is starting to look very, very scary for NoseKnowsAll. He's getting his 3-3, but the Protoss player is also getting his 3-3, and he's going to be able to use Chrono Boost to get that out faster. I do like +2 ship weapons, but a Zealot run by to the 3rd base is going to be able to do even more damage. Looking at the Workers kill tab, we see Placid has done an immense amount of harass to NoseKnowsAll, and this is one of the really scary things that can happen in TvP. You know, a lot of people say, oh, the Terran player should try to harass the Protoss, the Terran player should try to deal damage, and even though there are more resources lost for Placid, he has done immense amount of damage. He was behind in 30 supply earlier on, around the 10-11 minute mark, as we said. But he was down 30 supply, but he managed to pull himself together by just this constant harass, and now he has his 4th base, he's getting photon cannons up, and things are in general looking very good for Placid. NoseKnowsAll could still win the game. He needs a very good engagement, though, and he needs to get his Viking count up. He has a lot of Marines. He has a lot of Marauders, almost 100 supply in his bio. Actually, over 100 supply in pure bio, but those aren't the units that he needs to win the game right now. Additional units being brought in towards the 3rd base to deal damage, and these pylons have coverage everywhere. There's an observer tagged onto the army. He can barely afford to scan, and this is just a really difficult position for NoseKnowsAll to be in. Now, he is maxed, so if he gets a fight and comes out properly, he'll be okay, but there's so much AoE available. I will say there aren't as many Templar as I would expect. There are only 4 of them, but there are barely any. There are 8 Ghosts, but the Viking to Colossi ratio is really, really, really important. If you look at the army supply, it will be ahead for NoseKnowsAll, but his army composition, pure bio, you really need to have the right composition to deal with the tech units. There's so much area of effect damage available for Placid, but NoseKnowsAll looks like he might want to go for it. Not just yet. Tried to snipe out a High Templar, but And with the economy for Placid, he's going to be able to replace units that he loses very quickly. He needs to get a good engagement. He needs to get snipes off. I actually don't know. Does he have Cloak? He does not have Cloak, so engaging to the High Templar is going to be difficult. I mean, I guess there are Photon Cannons there, but this is still a very, very difficult position for NoseKnowsAll. He needs to get this 4th base secured. He has a Planetary Fortress there, and he needs to get a little bit more saturation on there. He needs to amp up his production, and he needs to do something, because now we have a massive bank available for Placid. NoseKnowsAll, in terms of what he actually has, he's actually killing his own Zealots to warp in Stalkers to help deal with potential Viking count. What I think is a pretty smart thing to do. He has a ton of money available to him. He's going to send out a Suicide Zealot to scout what's going on in NoseKnowsAll's base. Moons are going to step up, kill that Zealot, and he has a maxed out force. He has a good number of ghosts. He actually, Cloak now has just finished, so it's going to be interesting. He has a nuke actually on the way, but not just available yet. And well, this Cloaked Ghost is going to get spotted by the Observer, gets off an EMP, only manages to clip a Colossus and a couple of these Stalkers, doesn't get any of the important units, and this is just a really, really difficult position. These Stalkers are going to try to, excuse me, snipe this Ghost, but will not be able to. And, well, it's honestly, this gets to that point in the game where once you have so many gateways available to the Protoss player with this much money, he's getting a fleet beacon. Once you have this much available for a Protoss player, he's going to be able to just remax instantly, and his army will always be stronger than a Terran player's army. So this is, it takes so long to rebuild lost units for Terran. He has a good number of barracks, but for his bank, here it comes. Placid says, I've had enough of this, here we go. He actually has sentries, so he's going to be able to use Guardian Shield, which is nice for his free upgrades. The EMPs are going to try to be sprayed down, but he's not going to hit the important units. Now the Templar are going to show up. We're going to see the storms drop soon all over these units. Not actually hitting too many units with the storms, honestly, but he's going to be forced to merge those into Archons. He's actually lost a lot of his supply. NoseKnowsAll manages to hold this push. He got the engagement that he needed. Now there are still 4 or 5 Colossus here, and they're going to be able to do a lot of damage. But Chargebot Warped is coming in, and he may be able to break NoseKnowsAll's back now. He's hanging at the Planetary Fortress, and he's using the Planetary to his advantage to be able to stay alive. And that's really all he can do right now. He doesn't have enough money to remax, though, and we have a 5,000 mineral almost bank available for Placid and 3,000 gas. So he can replace all of the units that he wants to almost immediately. So this is an incredibly powerful force, getting a ton of Archons. We have a mothership on the way, and another Zealot run by to the 3rd base of NoseKnowsAll. Nope, he's going to go for the natural, and just basically try to distract him so that he go for another push. And man, these charge lots are so hard to kill. And here it comes, another push. A lot of charge lots coming in here. The Colossi, there are so many of them. The Viking count finally becoming, well, at least more than one, but they will all die to the Zealot, excuse me, to the Stalker Archon push. And I like the use of the Cloak here. He's managed to take care of Observers, so his Cloaked Ghosts have been able to do a lot of damage. However, Zealot's in his natural now, and this is starting to look really, really grim. There's a 70 supply lead for Placid. He has a 4th base, actually has a 5th base, and NoseKnowsAll has pretty much 2 mining bases, I guess. But these Zealots are just being incredibly tenacious. He doesn't even need to fully saturate these to maintain his bank. He's adding on 4 more he's actually on 6 Stargates, and he looks like he might just transition into Mass Carrier to just finish this. It's looking very dire, and NoseKnowsAll doesn't want to give up. He's going to build a sensor tower in the middle. His factory's just been chilling by this base the whole entire game, and we have air weapons and shields coming in for Placid, and he's pretty much just biding his time. He knows that the Turtle Terran can be hard to break, so he wants to make sure that whatever he kills him with is going to 100% work. +3 attack coming in for NoseKnowsAll. Additional Vikings are being produced. He's getting a somewhat reasonable Viking count now, but there is a lot available here for Placid. He has the mothership. He almost has enough energy for a Vortex. Not just yet, though. EMPs are being shot around. And, yeah, he can't push in just yet. He killed the Planetary, backed off, and that's exactly what he needs to do. He's lost enough supply that he's going to be able to get up 2 carriers, which is pretty interesting, I guess. That's just his way of basically saying, "This is my game. Can you please leave, sir?" Zealot's heading down towards the middle. We have high-sec auto-tracking coming in for NoseKnowsAll. I guess he was kind of like, well, I want to try to get the rest of the upgrades that I can, but I'm not sure with how limited his eventual resources are going to be that he wants to spend that on that just yet. Zealot's being sent in as a sacrifice to build more carriers. 5 carriers on the way for Placid. Archon, carrier, mothership, Colossus. Sounds pretty much like one of the most fearsome things you could possibly see. He's going to try to go and kill these pylons. But how much is he going to be able to do? He's going to try to invest his supply into ghosts and marines. And I don't know. His only hope is to max out and just deal so much damage that he doesn't lose any supply really when he kills the entire force of Placid, and then does that again pretty much 2 or 3 times in a row to just chew through the huge bank of Placid. I don't know what to say. We don't always see carriers in our PvT, but when we do, it's usually when the Protoss player is won. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. These Archon forces. This is just such a terrifying army, really. Like this is the god composition for Protoss, I think. Carrier Colossus, like with Void Ray, with the Archons, is you get splash against Vikings, you get AI messing up, kill everything, Colossi kill everything on the ground. Like it's pretty tough. And of course, the mothership can just vortex half of the army, throw the Archons in there, that sort of deal. The rest of the upgrades are coming in, and it looks like Placid's just going to move over to secure this base. I feel like he could probably just end this whenever he wants to, but he's just choosing to bide his time. Yeah, this is... Hey, looks like he's just going to push now. Here he goes. He's finally going to attack. He's going to drop the storms everywhere, and this Terran army is going to evaporate. That vortex goes in on half of the Vikings. EMPs being dropped all over by these ghosts, but not 100% enough. Ghosts are going to kill the mothership, but there's simply too much here for Placid. NoseKnowsAll is going to lose all of his army, and that's pretty much it. GG from NoseKnowsAll.